I've been talking about playing this deck for like a week or so, so it's honestly kind of similar to some things we've been trying, but I kind of had a hard time hammering out a list that I liked until I saw DakFaden07 on Twitter. Shout out to DakFaden07 on Twitter. I retweeted this tweet too just now. But I like this is kind of the take that we're going off of, just like every Grixis Shadow player ever. I've changed some stuff, and I've been playing a little bit off stream too. I think the main deck, I have cut the third Watery Grave down to 18 lands. I think with 8 1-mana cantrips, 18 lands is plenty. And I really wanted access to like at least the third drown in the Loch in the main deck, so we're up to 3 drowns. I wouldn't hate trying to find the room for the 4th. I'm actually starting to like that card a little bit at the moment. And the sideboard is pretty different too. But there's still the core concept is the same. Cutting the DRCs and Ragavan's baubles for Arcanist, Preordain, Murktide, kind of for the and also cutting the Underworld Breaches. I've been playing a lot of Dreadhorde Arcanist Preordain. I've been playing some Ragavan Channeler decks. I don't think that Ragavan is completely unplayable, but I will say I've been playing a lot of both, and I genuinely think I would rather play Dreadhorde Arcanist than Ragavan in Modern right now. I know that's kind of crazy to think. It's like it's very drastic compared to where we were pre-Lord of the Rings, where Arcanist was like completely nowhere, but Ragavan is in rough shape at the moment. It is in rough shape against any Bowmaster deck. It's like one of the worst cards that you could have. There's a lot of matchups where it gets really gummed up on the ground, but Arcanist is more resilient and I think offers more value despite being one extra mana. And also moving into this more cantrip-focused build, you actually get to play some number of Murktide Regent in your Grixis Shadow list. So the double blue is a little bit tough. We have 7 fetchables in this deck. 2 of them don't tap for blue. So I think you're usually going to have 3 lands in play, or a lot of times you're going to have 3 lands in play when you cast Murktide, which I think is okay. Realm Smasher, 26 months. I think you could cut a Murktide for a drown. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is like because the double blue is tough, going -1/+1 is okay, but I think I've been playing a little bit off stream, and this has kind of been comfortable at least. Did I consider Unearth the deck? I would not play Unearth with Murktide. I also usually like to stay away from Unearth in decks that play no 3-mana creatures. You would probably play Claim to Fame instead. Faming a Murktide is actually pretty cool. You get to it grows the Murktide by 1 because you're flashing back the spell and then gives it haste, but overall I think those kind of effects are probably not better. No E in the sideboard. No, for Sanctifier I have a Scolding and 2 Dress Downs. I also think that Arcanist is so good against most matchups where you need E's. You need that kind of effect a little bit less, but I don't know if the 1 E DakFaden had in his sideboard was load bearing or anything, but I'm currently not playing it. Isn't Gigantha not worth? We have Murktide Regent in the deck now, so no Gigantha. Again, my philosophy on Gigantha is usually if Gigantha is free, happily play it. If it's not free, don't worry about it. Realm, think again for the 26 months. Yeah, Flame of Anor is an interesting card. I've been liking Flame of Anor a lot in Snapcaster Shells. I tend to shy away from 3-mana spells in Murktide in general. DakFaden had 1 in the sideboard, and I'm like, I didn't really, I felt like I kind of wanted it, but I also kind of try to stay away from 3 jobs for the grindy matchups, especially in decks like this. Any reason for no lore revealed in this deck? Yeah, so I need to make a YouTube video about this. Is something I've been wanting to make a YouTube video on, when to put Lorien revealed in your deck. But in general, you want to play Lorien revealed in reactive decks that play mostly at instant speed, or largely at instant speed, that are comfortable getting to 5 mana. And I think that this deck is a little too proactive. It really is not that comfortable having tap lands, and it is not that comfortable getting to 5 mana either. I don't think that some number would be truly ridiculous, but I don't think this is a good Lorien revealed deck. I'm drawn to Snapcaster of Arcanist, but the Preordains force you to Arcanist. I mean, Arcanist is I don't know, it just flashes back the things for 0 mana. Arcanist has been really good. Arcanist has been really good. I've been a big fan of this card, and I'm happy to get to play it more. Unfortunately, we're up against Living End here, and our hand is garbage against Living End. Got a lot of cyber cards though. Silly Boy with the 8 months, thank you. That being said, Snapcaster plus Flame of Anor has been like very good too. We need to play more of like the Dreadhorde Arcanist Flame of Anor deck. There was like definitely some stuff to like there. Well, I'm taking my favorite line. Bolt myself. I was under the impression you could cut lands for Lorien, Fueling Murktide by taking away from it. This is not just something you can do. This is not something you want to do in every deck. You don't just always want to cut lands for Lorien. I also don't like Lorien very much in like Murktide shells. This is not just something you just can always do. It is more nuanced. Not every deck that plays Murktide, not every deck that plays blue wants Lorien revealed, but it is a nice tool for some decks. What about Arcanist with blue-red Murky? We have played that and it's been pretty good. Oh no, I was dying for a Thoughtseize, but we also needed to land. Okay, so we probably lose this one. Like Lorien Revealed, I think is very good in Omnath. That was like some tech I had at the PT was Lorien Revealed in Omnath. And I also think Lorien Revealed is a nice tool in blue-black control, Dimir control. The creativity, the Is It Creativity Hellraiser deck that we need to play more of. That's the backup deck today. I think that's another good tool. But you don't want it in every blue deck, and I think specifically like these like tempo decks with like tons of 1-mana spells, tons of like cheap creatures, can't really afford it as much. Is Teemo Battle Rage not good enough anymore? Just not necessary. Teemo Battle Rage has not been in these Grixis Shadow decks in a long time. It is potentially better now that we're playing Murktide Regent. That being said, I also tend to think that Dress Down is kind of the more premier like pump effect because it makes your Shadow 13/13 and then has like a lot of extra utility too. Thoughts on Wild Slash versus Ring decks? I mean, Lightning Bolt is just so much better than Wild Slash. I'm not gonna like play Wild Slash to be better against one card in the format, even if that one card is, you know, pretty impactful. Okay, so we do have a lot of sideboard cards to the matchup, or you know, enough. Could also consider playing the Stern Scolding, just to 1-mana counter Grief. I think I will not do that. I don't hate it. Kind of hard to hold up them. Do you think the Primeval Titan creativity decks would be improved by Preordain? I'm not sure. Preordain and creativity is kind of a weird dynamic. I like this Is It build we have a lot. We've only played like one league with it, I think. Maybe like one league and then one match, and I had to end the stream a little early. But I'm pretty sure we 4-1'd with it, and like I think we like lost round 1, and so everyone like it's like classic lose round 1 4-1. I think maybe it was round 2. So I think people are kind of sleeping on this build a lot, but I think if I was going to be playing creativity, I want to be exploring this build a bit more. Like just being able to cast Hellraiser has been awesome. It's been a really big dynamic not to just have all these dead draws, and it's a good card to creativity into. But it is more of a Hellraiser deck than a creativity deck, is probably a good way to think about it. Okay, no lands. That's what I get for cutting a land from Dax's list, I guess. Alright, let's keep this. Is Scalding better than Bowmaster? No, Bowmaster is good against Living End. They have a lot of cyclers. It's pretty good pressure against them. I know Dingo is a big fan of Bowmaster against Living End too. In fact, I'm probably just going to main phase it here. I have to get a little bit used to fetching more blue sources too. Used to fetching more like Blood Crypt aggressively. I didn't hear that India made it to the moon. When was that? That's awesome. That's so cool. Why Force Spell Piercer with first Fluster? I thought you liked Fluster a lot. I have really shifted my stance on Flusterstorm. There was a time where I preferred it to Spell Pierce. And I think that was like There were some dynamics about the format that like it kind of influenced the decision, but for the most part, I'm like all Spell Pierce all the time. There are a lot of matchups where Spell Pierce is a lot better, and like there's just like not enough spots where Flusterstorm is significantly better. There are a few, but not enough, I think. Okay, nice to be able to go Thoughtseize, Pierce up, then have Drown next turn too, with some pressure in play. Good mold to 5. Iteration is worse than normal with no Deers or no Bobble. Did you try Charter Course or Indulgence? Iteration is still much better than Charter Course or Tainted Indulgence. Even without this dynamic. Okay, 2 Force of Negations in hand and 2 Living Ends in hand. I haven't seen a hand this bad in a while. Yeah, I think we just take the Waker, since even there's no way we can play around top decked Violent Outburst though. Yeah, it's like against like Creativity especially, which is not as popular anymore, but like it just counters like Ren and 6 Teferi. There's and you know, against blue white control, counters Chalice, counters Rest in Peace, counters Teferi. And it's just, and in my experience, it's just Flusterstorm is like not enough better against Spell Pierce against specifically Living In to justify the first Flusterstorm over the 4th Spell Pierce, I think. Mug with the 2 years. Happy 2 years. Welcome back. India was the second country to land on the moon this week, but the first 2. Who else landed on the moon this week? I thought I wasn't. I thought I was like kind of in touch with the news. I guess I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3. I guess I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate, but usually I'm like somewhat in touch with the news. Oh yeah, I forgot to take the Living In. Everyone but me is going to the moon. Russia crashed. Well, that was an unmanned ship, though. Or did they? I thought that they. I knew that they landed and then they crashed, right? But it was an unmanned trip. Was India manned or unmanned? Am I gonna drown a Foundation Breaker? Yeah, I think I am. We gotta keep the clock going. And he was also unmanned? Okay. So fun. Fluster is exactly better than these Cascade decks. There's definitely argument to splitting his Pierce and Fluster now Living In Ren is so popular. Yeah, but the thing is, like, Flusterstorm is not much better than Spell Pierce. It is a little bit better than Spell Pierce in these matchups. But like Spell Pierce is so much more versatile. It's so much more versatile that like I just really don't like this split. Blue-Black Shadow Scheme. I've been hearing about this list a little bit. I have some thoughts. Hold on. Let me keep hitting my land drops. So one, in this build, I think it's like really silly to not play 4 Murktide Regents. When you're playing 4 Consider 4 Preordain and the card like Sauron's Ransom, even though you only have a couple copies. And, like, you don't have as many, like, cheap threats as we do in our shell. I guess it's, like, really just that we have Arcanist, but even still, this is, like, to me, like, a definite 4 of Murktide build. I also really don't like Malakir Rebirth in this deck. As someone who, like, has been a fan of Malakir Rebirth and other builds of... like, you know, these scam variants, I don't like it in... I don't like it in this deck. I think that you have, like, in your Counterspell Murktide Regent deck, that's only playing 18 lands, you can have 1 swamp, but I don't think that you want any more than just 1 swamp. Man, I just every single stream is just like Moldify, no land, Moldify, Flood, you know. It's okay. Our hand was like pretty good early, but and my opponent's draw was pretty bad too. I just feel like our draws this week have been so bad. So like I do not want to play Malakir Rebirth. I think that you can play 3 or 4 Undying Malice and it'd be fine. I was thinking that if you're playing that many Undying Malice, you could try to register Dothi Voidwalker in... I guess we'll attack first. You can try to register Dothy Voidwalker in the main deck, because that's like another way to make your Malak Rebirths less, or your Undying Malices less dead. Because I understand that that's the issue. I would also definitely play 4... Oh, you have the Dismembers. You have 2 Dismember, 3 Push. It's kind of a fine split. I like the Dismembers more in this shell than in the Grixis shell, since you have like less access to good removal, and you have you're like not as good as damaging yourself because you yeah, well, they played the Masaiju. I think I'm supposed to fight over this. Force Pitch Force. Okay, well, now we have nothing. How much is worse is Subtlety versus Spell Pierce in this deck? I mean, I am still just not that... Or Stubby Denial. It's like significantly worse, I think. You only have 7 creatures that turn it on, and Murktide is really slow at turning it on, and so is Shadow, I think. I guess it's, you know, it's still 4 spikes, but... Not a big fan of that card in general. So Grief Pitch living in their hand is living into Mystery card. If that Mystery card is a Cascade spell, we don't really have any outs. Have a weird match. It's a Foundation Breaker. So we're still playing. Big top deck for me. Maybe could have fetched a Thin there. I think we're talking with both. Yeah, talking with both makes sense to me. Great, obviously amazing draw. And it's really good too that this is going to stop them from drawing any Cycler. I guess it only stops them from drawing any Cycler if... No, I can still ping the Foundation Breaker. So that if they draw any Cycler, they go to 2 from the Orc Army, 1 damage from the Bowmaster trigger, and then if they're living in, the Bowmaster in the graveyard will trigger and kill them. I think Living In is worse than Rhinos. I hear Living In is not that great now. I was curious to why. I think it's close. I think that Living In is a hard deck to play to some extent. Like, you're figuring out your sideboard plans and knowing when to go for it and how to play around effects is difficult. But if you play it like Nassif level, you know, you can be a god gamer. Okay, still like looking at this list. Yeah, I would play Spell Pierce over Stubborn Denial. I would probably play 17 lands, no Malakari Births. 4th Murktide Regent. Yeah, I'm not sure how I want to fit the... Probably just play 3 Undying Malice in. I mean, you don't even have to play... Oh, wow, they drew a Curator. So I think we just pass? Yeah, I'm not really sure how... oh, no, I want to attack with Bowmaster. Do I attack with both? No, just attack with this. This means they're just dead. They can Cascade trigger on our turn because they'll get food from Imp before Bowmaster trigger resolves. Oh, wow. That's an awesome line. Still plays around Agent. So minus... Okay, cut the Malakari Birth. 17 lands. 4th Murktide Regent, I think. Maybe cutting 2nd Ransom just to have a lower curve. It's kind of tough though. Ransom. I do like the idea of 2 ransoms. Hey, we won that game. What a weird game. Classic complaint about my draws win anyways. This is also a problem. I think you don't need the Hallowed Fountain. I would play 2nd Island over Hallowed Fountain. You don't need the Fountain because you have Dismembers. If you didn't have the Dismembers, I wouldn't play the Fountain. The long deck. Cyber looks okay. I wouldn't mind the 2nd Turok. I don't love the Edicts of the sideboard, actually. I'm not sure why. It's like an okay main deck card. I don't think it's a particularly good sideboard card. Maybe you're worried about being able to answer Murktide Regents, but if that's the concern, I kind of think that you're maybe better off sideboarding Murderous Cut instead. So again, a lot of loose thoughts. Does that blue black list need Lorien over Rebirth? I just don't think you want to play Lorien in Shadow decks. The Grixis version can run Charmaw over Alpine Moon. No longer need Giganta requirements. Well, Moon is like a bit more versatile. It's good against every Urza Saga deck. Charmaw is only good against Tron. And you're also a pretty good Alpine Moon deck against Tron because you can put a reasonable amount of pressure on them. Yeah, I guess my answer is I'm not sure, but that would kind of be my instinct. Victim Knight over Murderous? Yeah, Victim Knight could be better too. I would think that the first Murderous cut I would play over the first Victim of Night, but maybe I would play the first Victim of Night over second Murderous cut. Would living in be different if graveyards weren't a thing in Magic? What the fuck is that question? Average aspiring spike chatter. No, my opponent has not been cycling. I think we're just being trolled. Blanks is here a lot. But it's good to ask trolling questions because then you let me react and I get free content like that. So that the longtime viewers just get to feed the channel by making me go, what the fuck? So I guess we cast one Consider, looking for a 1 mana spell or Chalice. Okay, then we can hold both these up here. Not that it's necessarily great too. Yeah, it could be better to just play another Shadow here since my opponent... I think because my opponent is like low on Graveyard Fuel, I can maybe beat a Post. I can maybe beat a Living End. They also might go Violent Outburst, end of turn. Do I care about this? I don't think so. It's just not really doing anything against my Shadow. Trolley question, why not retry Infect? I'm open to it, you know. To some extent, like, there's just, like, not enough time to, like, play everything I would want to in Modern, which is awesome for a format that I do I do as a full-time job, and I do for, like 9 hours a day, maybe. Not every day. Not with Baldur's Gate 3, maybe, but, oh, I can't drown that. But I play a lot of Magic, and to feel like there's not enough time, I think is pretty cool. I'm actually incredibly happy to take this hit. I think. Is my opponent going to chump? Is that the plan? Okay, so I can definitely cast one Preordain. Don't think I have enough life for that Thoughtseize because I just died of the Curator. Yeah, but I'm open to like trying. In fact, maybe I'll put a mental note to maybe try it off stream, and maybe I don't get around to it, but I think if you have this thought like, hey Spike, why not try it out Infected? It's kind of revitalized with Preordain. I don't think that thought is crazy. I encourage you to do it. I encourage you to try it. I can't do everything. I'm in Act 3 of Baldur's Gate. I'm trying to finish Karlach's quest line. It's just I have a lot on my plate at the moment. It's really funny. So I'm romancing Karlach. She's like a really tall tiefling barbarian. I'm playing a dwarf monk, and the kiss animation is bugged. It's really funny. It's really funny. Like, they just lean in and like their faces come like nowhere close at all. It's really, really funny. They just kind of like lean in and there's like a 3-foot height difference, and then it's very very funny. What was your fastest sex speed run? I don't know. I know Gale came on to me like the first night he was in the camp or something, maybe second night. It's pretty funny. Okay, go to 2. Yeah, it's nice to be kind of it's nice to be the short one for once. Because Esther is like that's basically how Esther and I am, but I'm the Karlach in that situation. Gale's bugged, and I complain when I commit to another relationship, even have to turn him down. Yeah, Will was like that for me. Will you play Starfield? I'll give it a shake or a try if I'm done with Baldur's Gate by then. But I am into Act 3, and I thought that there were 4 acts, but apparently there's only 3. So maybe I'll be done soon. But I want to try to get a second playthrough done too. The game is awesome. Act 3 is kind of buggy, so it's like Act 3 is definitely not like super finished, unfortunately. But I'm still having a great time. Scott, 46 months, thank you. So what can my opponent have? I think literally nothing. I think they're hoping for a misclicked attack. I suppose I'll keep a Murktide to not be dead if they have a card I've never seen before. What could they have? I don't know. They can't Qasali Ambusher. They can't, I don't know. I'm gonna do Dark Urge playthrough? I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna do Dark Urge playthrough. I watched some clips of it, and it's like pretty fucked. I don't know. But it does seem like Dark Urge is like pretty ideal for your second playthrough. Controller for games. Yeah, I think a good guy Dark Urge playthrough where you're like trying to resist is kind of interesting too. We'll see. What are you doing over there, huh? So they have 2 1-mana Accelerants and do not have an answer for Arbor Elf. In my hand, I have a lot of answers for Arbor Elf in my deck. So, no matter what, they play 1-mana Accelerant, then I play Arcanist, they can play Ranger Captain. Ranger Captain's a pretty big speed bump. Yeah, I think I just take the Ranger Captain, and then I plan to Thoughtseize the Collected Company on turn 3 with the Arcanist. Pick Utopia. I think picking Utopia is fine. That was definitely my first instinct, but I think my thought process will make sense. Choose nothing. That's a line. Would Thoughtseize be different if you couldn't take a card? It was just peak, lose 2 life. Oh. Duh, I'm so dumb. Modern Expert, Aspiring Spike. Indiscuri Oak Rosie. Alright, I mean, I deserve that. Probably a fine matchup, but they have a bunch of, like, Sanctifiers, though. Okay, so we're playing into Dress Downs, Scolding, push number 3. I think Trim a Shadow's fine. Trim a Consider. Why not take Coco? I just thought I could Thoughtseize the Coco the following turn. I forgot that they could have turn 2 Coco. I haven't seen like Arbrelf like survive and untap a Sprawl in a long time, but no real excuse, just a punt. Oh, probably want to cut the Pierces. Play 1 Terminate. I'm done for 1 Terminate, I think. Should Murktide think they're on Sanctifier? I want more Murktides if they're on Sanctifier. It's a way for me to just fly over it. Like, I know that they can, like, shrink it, but I have, like, you know, a lot of, like, 1 mana. Maybe we should keep all the Considers in with that attitude, but I think it's still castable is what I'm trying to say. Okay, now I hope that they cast an Arbrelf. $61? Is it? Let's keep both of these. I didn't mean for it to be 61. Oops. You don't like explosives? I mean, I like explosives. You can only play 15 sideboard cards, though. I don't think that explosives is amazing at the moment. I think you could play 1. I would not play 2, and it's okay. So they have a ley line, or not sorry, ley line, Veil Simmer. General deck building question: how do you assess your threat density? I.e., how many threats are enough? There are a lot of questions like this that are just like very difficult to answer. It's like a very like simple question for a complicated answer. I wish I could just have like real short 1 sentences ready for you for like these kind of questions, but I should have responded to that. But I just am not, you know, not there yet to answer such a complicated question very quickly. A lot of it comes down to experience, you know, playing with different threat numbers is kind of my answer for how I do everything is experience. Works out better sometimes than others. Just have to take the veil. Shut up with the 3 months, thank you. Yeah, the answer is it depends, you know. Like every deck is just such a different thing. There's not like a formula I can point you to some to any extent or even. Thoughts on Winota? Does 4-color version of Bowmaster seem interesting? I mean, Bowmaster is nice for Winota. It's a deck I've like tried and failed to build many times. So they're gonna get 2 of my removal spells here, which is gross. I think I just want to use both pushes since I'm not gonna have guaranteed Revolt going forward. Heliod quietly best deck. And they get to make their champion a 2/2. I guess if I draw Dress Down, I get to kill the champion. I get to hit them for 15. I get to draw another card. Yeah, I think if I top deck Dress Down this turn, we could get out of this. Oh, it's a 3/3. Right. Still killable. Still Dress Down. Wow, they're thinking about attacking. It's not unreasonable. Yeah, Heliod can lifelink your shadow. Okay, that's never a bad top deck. Well, yeah, sometimes, I guess. Do I want to tap like this? Yeah. Alright, just looking for Dress Down still. I guess we really get to look for it. Oh, this is infinite too. Okay, Heliod's broken. I've tried to build this a few times. Curve always looks so wonky to me, but I guess Auriok Champion is like... It's kind of a card I did dismissed. Can I concede? It's literally not letting me concede. Okay, turn off audios, turn off audios, turn off audios. They're literally holding me hostage. I literally can't concede. Please, free me. No. Can I exit? Concede match? One match, 0 losses? Unable to join a queue. Current match pending. Wow, that's a combo. Yeah, I thought a player could concede the game at any time. Okay, so what happens if I close and log back in? Yeah, my opponent's thinking I'm salting off. We're back. Back in the match. Is he been doing the 4 months? C-ball to the 4 months also? Or should the Twitch Prime? I don't know. I just also saw 4 months next to your name. Hit him with, yeah, I have outs to infinite life. Oh, you remember when Heliod was like a tier 1 deck in Modern? I had a paragraph, like, on like a sticky note that I would copy and paste. I have outs to infinite life, but I will treat it as if you have infinite life. I will not attack you unless I need to get like a... There's sometimes you have to attack for triggers. I can't think of the name of the card, so I would... With Uro. I would say, I will still attack you with Uro, so you should try to gain like 300 life or something, but I will only attack with Uro. But I have outs to infinite life. And they would go, okay? And then it would still... They would still gain the exact amount of life that they always would, and I don't even know why I had this paragraph. Okay, we're going to try to concede the match again. Okay, so it is not working. Unable to join the queue. Can I drop from the league? Because I got a stream to do. That was the very rare... Uh-oh, aired me, so... Burn vs. Shadow? Burn vs. Shadow is always fun. Yeah, Burn vs. Shadow. Yeah, I guess I could show the kiss glitch in Baldur's Gate 3. Well, too late now. It is so funny though. How does Infinite Loop in Paper? No, you just target like not Skuriok. You target one of the squirrels, or you target the Auriok champion, and then the loop stops. Triple Rift Bolt. Okay. Bottom both these. Why do you find it that funny? You just haven't seen it. It's like, I'll try to show it at some point if we have some downtime or something. It's just, I don't know. Glitches are funny. I don't know what to say. You have to have a very refined sense of humor. Yeah, the client crashed because of the Coco deck, so we had to restart the league. Are we just dead? They have 2 more 1-mana burn spells? They have Rolling Vortex. Gonna be a hard one to beat. So I guess I can go Bolt them, Island, 6/6 Murktide Regent. and then die. Okay, so they go to 12. I attacked them down to 6, and I have 4 points. It's just like one short. I guess maybe if they, if they draw a Horizon Land next turn. Obviously, we're dodging. You have to dodge burn spells, which never happens. Okay. Down a game. They bring in 2 Piers. They bring in Scolding. They bring in Dress Down because they should have Sanctifier post board right now. I'm a Thoughtseize Cutter here. Maybe down to Trim a Bowmaster. Trim a Bowmaster seems fine. Yeah, I think cutting AI is fine. I think I'm down to cut a Bowmaster too. No Chalice, no. We have more 1-mana spells than they do, I think. Maybe not with the... It's close. It's close. You only want to E or Chalice on 0. Push. Did I not bring in the push? Oh, I should have brought in the push. I would like Lube know what happened for the YouTube upload. Yeah, that's smart. So could play Arcanist and lose to Searing Blaze. I think I like being able to like spell Pierce Rolling Vortex this turn too. Yeah, not very good. Arcanist not very good against Vortex, huh? Yeah, completed the last league with a 1-0 record. Yeah, my opponent played Heliod combo that bricked the client basically. So 5 cards in their hand. I'm at 15. Down to 11, but now our shadows are castable. They also take the time to bolt Arcanist too. So if we can find a fetch land, we'll keep it. The one time like the basic swamp isn't like super ideal. It's okay. Double Shadow is like definitely like one of the best ways to beat them. Do you have any ideas for Regal Bunicorn? Yeah, I did see that one. It's a 2-mana power and toughness equals the number of non-land permanents you control. Pretty exciting card. I will work on it. I don't think it immediately goes into anything, but it is interesting. Does Searing Blaze kill Shadow? No. I think Searing Blaze never kills Shadow. We want this to resolve so our shadows are bigger. In fact, I'll let any other burn spell resolve here, and then just have lethal and play next turn, and then have the drown up for the lethal burn spell or the next one. Ah! Come on, dude! No! Well played. Well played. Wait! Now it says I'm 0-2 in this league? This is such bullshit. This is such bullshit. Because this must be the Heliod match. Oh my gosh, just bad beat after bad beat. What can you do? What can you do, dude? You just can't play around it. You literally just can't play around it. I could have been the bad guy and let them tease on the draw. Let's keep. We have 16 lands and 8 cantrips that are pretty good draws. They double charge me? Yep. The things I do for content, huh? They have triple Matter Reshaper. And the Matter Reshapers like unironically look amazing here. I think I'm actually gonna take one. They just have the nuts. What about Sleep Curse Fairy? Blue 3/3 flyer board 2 doesn't untap. That card is super interesting. It is awful, I think, but it's interesting in the sense that I'm not like completely sure that it's awful. You know what I mean? Do we want Blood Crypt or do we want to be able to play this Murktide? Let's get Blood Crypt. I think we're taking the other Reshaper. I'm playing a Shadow. Is it better than Delver? Well, it doesn't. No, I don't think so, but I'm not sure why that's the deciding factor for a card selection. Yeah, but I love the design of that card. It's like thought-provoking and interesting. I think that it's like not close to a modern playable card. It's like. But it is interesting. It is a really cool design. I'm gonna Bowmaster myself. But it seems to be F6. I'm just gonna give them some time to on F6 here. Maybe I should Bowmaster the card so that I just... Yeah, I should probably Bowmaster the card so I just attack for 2. Let's see. So if I Bowmaster myself, I go down to... These become 5/5s. I go Fetch Shock. They're 8/8s, which is not lethal. I have a hard time beating this bridge. If I keep them at 4/4s, there's a chance. Their hand is currently like... Their hand is what? Triple Smasher bridge? Okay, now we're looking for Drown or Thoughtseize, maybe Pierce. Well, bad if they have a land, but I think I'm supposed to keep the Pierce. It's good for a fairy deck if you have a fairy. Yeah, like it's an interesting fairy. I don't think that you can afford to play it though. It just doesn't seem quite there. But it isn't far off. Okay. I remember back when like Lurrus was around, like I played the Hunterbird, and I felt like Eldrazi Tron was one of the worst matchups. They are going to have a lot of their own chalices. Not something that's super common, but I think I actually just want to max out on Pierces. Could play like 1 Terminate. The thing is, like, your creatures are just bigger and better than theirs. You don't really need to remove them. Worth noting with that fairy, if you activate the ability, don't action tap it, remove the sun counter. Wait, I thought that it says untap and remove. Okay, mulligan. This was a black source we keep though. Is there a Ledger Shredder deck in the format left? Where did I did play Shredder recently. Like a lot of Murktide players are back on Shredder, but it's also like like all the creatures in Murktide besides Murktide are kind of bad at the moment, you know what I mean? So my opponent keeps their 7, which is a little scary. Let's keep this back second iteration. Could put back second Pierce. Alright, maybe a short. Game 2. Oh, okay. Nope. We get to take the best card in their deck. They did have the nuts again, though. Where did I play Ledger Shredder recently? It must have been in one of the Dreadhorde Arcanist Preordain decks. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just had like a draft of a deck with it. Oh, whoops. As far as yeah, Fire Ace is a good card. You can play it in like some control variants. You can play it in some creativity variants. It's in our backup deck today. And I think Fire Ace is also like a bit better than it was pre-Lord of the Rings because it's like a really clean answer to Orcish Bowmaster. I thought no. Has Arcanist done anything of note yet? We've been playing a lot of Dreadhorde Arcanist over the last couple of weeks. I think it's been pretty consistently good. This is like we're not just trying it out for the first time. We've been playing it a lot, and it's been, I think, incredible, honestly. Or like, incredible is maybe a bit hyperbolic, but it's been like the 2-mana creature I've been pretty excited to play. So you have Spell Pierce, Ballista, Dismember, mystery card. Here comes Ballista. I'm hoping to draw a fetch land. So I play Shadow Double Pierce up. We probably can't get out of this. You may be able to double pierce the Dismember. And now they're playing around it. Okay. Game 3. Yeah, typically a pretty bad matchup for the archetype. Ledger Shredder Esper Mentor. Yeah, that's kind of sounds like the deck we used to play. I was trying to update the Ledger Shredder Mentor deck, but it just looks so bad to Bowmasters. Obviously, you could play Bowmasters too there. Take it that Tempt didn't lead anywhere productive. Tempt. What card are we talking about? Man, they have it every game, huh? So I can Alpine Moon them off Tron, so shouldn't be very scared of this Ugin. I actually think it's just the Reshaper again. It's just cheap. It is very good against us. The Ring tempts you. So what was the question? Are we talking like Birthday Escape Dreadhorde Arcanist? Because I don't know, we played like one league, and it didn't seem bad. But I think in like a deck like this, you want to play Consider over Birthday Escape. It's maybe like close though, to be honest. Uh-oh. Good top deck for them. Arcanist doesn't do very much against Chalice in 1. Need to find a Murktide. Oh, should have fetched end of turn also. We used to holding the fetches as Shadow, but Shadows are offline. Aver with the 22 months, thank you. And Flap Tuesday with the 16 months, thank you all as well. Question was the ring tip sheet not being a super impactful mechanic. I guess, like, you know, this is kind of a funny thing too. Like, I personally just do not think about mechanics at all when I'm evaluating cards or sets. I just think of every single card as its own unique object. And I don't think about the mechanic, I just think about like the literal text on the card. And I think that attitude helps me a lot in evaluation and brewing, and I would encourage you to have a similar approach. Yeah, I mean we're pretty cool to Chalice. I don't know. No Giganta to save us. Aver with the 22, Flop with 16, Super Hot with the 8, Race with 18. All right, conceding. Thoughts on the Otter and Prowess when 3 mana to put a counter on a thing. Alright, let's get Watery Grave. Could see an argument for Steam Vents, though. Wait, do I keep both lands or one? Let's keep both. Kind of close, though. I'm gonna try to find the card. X can be Berserker. Yeah, let me just find it. Can I control F Otter? Nope. Yeah, can maybe somebody link it. Does Lead and Light Scribe fit in Prowess? No, again, there's like a lot of like fringe playable cards. I remember Light Scribe was like a card that some people were a little bit excited about when it was coming out, but it's just not it. You know what I mean? Thanks, Bada. Distribute X counters among any. Oh, it is any number. Yeah, so okay. I am more interested in it because it's mostly just like either turn 1 play or you're going to be able to go 1 mana trigger Prowess, then play the Otter. Very, very occasionally you'll be flooded and you'll be able to like put a counter on something, then play this, but. It is interesting. Trigger Prowess, then cast a Prowess creature. This line of text too, creatures with power less than Otter can't block it, is also interesting. It's very interesting that it's kind of paired. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. I think it's sort of like it's on a sorcery speed effect, and so in theory this effect is really good with a lot of instants where you attack. They can't block, and then you like Lava Dart, Lightning Bolt, Mutagenic Growth, and grow it. So I think that dynamic is interesting too. 1 toughness creatures in Modern suck. However, 1 toughness creatures in Modern suck. Oh man, this hand is so good. I have to draw something, but take Grief now, counter the first Violent Outburst, then look for a Thoughtseize, Spell Pierce, or Drown off the Consider. So, but 1 toughness creatures in Modern suck. 1 toughness creatures in Prowess specifically can be a bit better because this is a deck that you're comfortable playing Mutagenic Growth in. Okay, do we play around top decked Violent Outburst? Let's not. Let's not. I don't think we can beat it. We just have to draw so much. Power less than Otter? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, power less than Otter. Oh, less than. Oh, sorry. You're right. So good news. They didn't play around this. Bad news. gonna have a really hard time beating it. Especially with the grief. I don't know why they did it in step. So I guess if I find Lightning Bolt right now... Push would be good if I could cast it. Maybe I could target my Bowmaster. Okay. So we get to put our opponent down to 4. Then they cast Charlotte's Agent. I bolt them, and then we can find another bolt or another Bowmaster for lethal. They have to play around main before spreading drown. I guess. I wouldn't think that you should do that against Shadow, but that's maybe what happened. Okay, so the Otter is better also. Sorry. Otter is actually probably pretty good. I did think this was backwards. I don't I think Otter is probably pretty good. Okay, so we have 5 outs, and we have some cantrips that can dig us for one of those outs too. Nope. Are 1-4 today? I think we're 1-3 today. Okay, so we beat Living Ends. We lost to the Heliod deck. Then we lost to something else. Then we lost to Eldrauzitron. And now we're down a game against Living End. Although we lost game 1 against Living End last time too, right? We just have a lot of sideboard cards. Lost to Burn, right? 1-3. Okay. Counter Magic versus Living In seems so mid. I mean, it's better than this card. Better than Burn, better than Creatures. Not as good as Permanent Base State. If Prowess becomes Teamer, what cards do we need? Ancient Creature sideboard. One green card that I really like in Prowess. That's green. Well, I guess if you play Dreadhorde Arcanist, which you might not anymore with the Otter. But one card I've liked historically has been Become Immense. I might still play Become Immense. Yeah, Ancient Grudge is okay in the sideboard. I think it doesn't really hit like a lot of things you're super soft to. Like against Hammer, you're more soft to Sanctifier than anything else. Alright, so Thoughtseize them and see if we need to Preordain for another piece of interaction or not. We do not, since they cannot draw a land and a Cascade spell here. Luzco, 15 months, thank you. Stayskin Veil, yeah, the card's okay. Is it the graveyard important for Breach? Maybe play some scales up in Prowess. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to play Breach, but Breach is good. It's just a card I've liked to the I'm just saying it's a card I've liked to the shell in the past. Probably bottom Murktide here. Get both of these. What do you think of the Collector's Vault from Eldraine? I have no idea what that is. I just build modern decks and play modern decks. Okay, so their hand is Ingot Chewer, Leyline, new mystery card. Yeah, Scale plus Arcanist is really sweet. It was like again, I've said this a few times recently. It's the first modern deck I ever played, or streamed rather. Let's Thoughtseize him. Fair enough. Happy to get to take the Ingot Chewer. Oh, Collector's Vault. I thought it was like a ooh, Wizards is releasing a Collector's Vault, baby. Okay. 2 mana, tap 2 mana, draw a card, then discard a card, create a treasure token. So it's kind of 1 mana to activate. A little bit better than being 1 mana to activate. I would think that 2 mana, make a treasure token, act as an activation cost is more powerful than just 1 mana to activate. Because sometimes you get to store the mana. Yeah, I don't know if they're supposed to bring in the ley lines. I guess they might think I have Nile Spellbomb, but I don't have Spellbomb. Probably just can't Arcanist this game. Seeing that this in Red and 6 goes hard in Jund Saga, I don't know that it's going to go hard, but it'll... It's an interesting card. It's not a card I want to immediately dismiss. It's not one that I think is super exciting either. Yeah, good with Zerda. Too bad it doesn't reduce it to 0, but it's like kind of effectively 0 with Zerda. Rapture of the 4 months, thank you. Remind me we're off the red 1-drops. This card is why. It's a really good draw. I think Beseech the Mirror is an instant 4-of coffers. I think definitely not an instant 4-of coffers. Beseech the Mirror is the kind of card that people like really like, and they see that it can do some broken stuff, and they just kind of like mentally ignore the fact that you have to sacrifice a permanent to cast this card. Coffers is not a deck that's good at just having random permanents to sacrifice. And I know you have 4 Orcish Bowmasters in your deck. 4 Bowmasters is not enough to meet the deck building requirements of Beseech the Mirror. It's not close. You need a lot more than just 4 Orcish Bowmasters, I think. So if they have Street Wraith, it's kind of bad here. Plus Living End. Just play Colony Guard, yeah, in your coffers deck. I have some thoughts on like playing the card, but for the most part, I'm not super sure about how we're feeling about it. You play green black and play Goose for the food tokens. I'm a little confused, like usual with this chat. I don't know. Green black, so like green black coffers with random Gilded Goose, like, and then you still only have like 8 good things. I think again I'm interested in playing like mono black Asmo with this card. This is kind of the first place I'll try. Mono black Asmo with Shielded Ring and this card. The Underworld Cookbook is probably the best enabler for this effect. But like at the moment, I've seen several people say that it's an automatic 4-of coffers. I think it's currently very close to unplayable. No, it's just actually unplayable in current builds of coffers. You just have nothing to sacrifice besides like your Bowmaster token. No, you manufacture times. Maybe I have not built the deck yet. I have not built the deck yet. I will be working on it, and we'll be streaming it. We'll be doing the thing. Okay, so if this just resolves, I'm probably crewing the hers. Maybe Yogg can play? Yeah, maybe. It seems actually pretty good at Yogg, huh? Isn't there map and ring? Okay, ring as a sacking a ring to get another ring is cool. It is not a reason to play this card. Saying, oh, I can cast this 4-drop if I have already cast this, the 1 ring is just not a good attitude. Sacking map is also like just not a good plan. It's just we're like, if the plan is just like it's 2 for 1 ourselves, baby. Yeah, it's just not a good plan, I think. Also, like current builds of coffers do not currently play map. And so there's just a lot I don't like about this attitude, I guess. Probably hold the shadow. Can't sack creatures. Oh, yeah, sorry, it has to be tokens too. So like, right. You can sacrifice Orcish Bowmaster. You can sacrifice food tokens. You can sacrifice artifacts, enchantments, but you can't sacrifice creatures. What does it do over Eldritch Evolution? It lets you get ring, is what it does, but yeah, I'm not 100% convinced that that's super important, I guess. So probably have another cycler here, but we can beat like 1 creature pretty easy. Oh, they have no. We can beat no creatures too. Gotta let this resolve. I don't think so. Like I don't want it to resolve and then they get to grief my shadow. I'd much rather hearse them and then they cycle 1 or 2 creatures and then I just get to go Shadow Arcanist instead of like they get to take my second shadow. And then I don't have a shadow in play. Seems like there's a lot of brew potential with the. Yeah, I kind of like this card. Yeah, I agree. I wish it could also hit Planeswalkers, but maybe that's a bit much. Yeah, I kind of like this card too. Destroy card, creature, opponent controls mana value last, make a food, make a wicked roll. Like kill a creature, make a food, turn another creature into a 1/1. Seems like pretty reasonable. Yeah, then there's also I need to watch the Hearth Elemental. Oh, this card. Yeah, people. Wait, this is the bird card we're talking about. Probably a different one. I don't think. I think Hearth Elemental is a cool card, but it is like worse than a few very similar cards in Modern. Kind of like all of these or both of these. Let's keep both. You can go 2-drop next turn into Thoughtseize 2-drop the following turn. Alright, so Bowmaster the Bowmaster maybe, although they maybe just don't play it. Dredge and Phoenix potential. Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot Dredge. I forgot that we like this card in Dredge. But outside of Dredge, I'm not probably feeling it. Okay, so what do you want to do? Do you want to cast the Bowmaster? They Bowmaster my Bowmaster. Let's not, I think. Let's just pass. Because we get to kind of force the action with the Thoughtseize. And I can maybe play Arcanist this turn. We'll see what their hand is. It's all going to depend on the hand. But what says take whatever you want. I guess 3 Undying spells, 2 lands. Oh, close. Close. So we are not going to be flashing back Preordain anytime soon, I think. So block. I think I'm down to block. I got to get these out of the hand. Let's maybe not. Feels close though. Maybe should not have played my land yet. Okay, that could be the biggest deal ever, I guess. So we're doing a 7. So is there not a bird card? Have I been teased? Oh, that's what you mean. You mean it's like a phoenix card. Could Arcanist ever be enough to play Flame of Norn? We have played Flame of Norn, Dreadhorde Arcanist. I think that build is really interesting. We went 3-2 in our league, but we beat Scam and Murktide, and then I think another fair matchup too. And that dynamic was pretty interesting to me. Did I watch Ashoka? No, I've just been like too addicted to Baldur's Gate. I'm also like I don't really know much about Ashoka as a character. Alright, we probably let the Bowmaster trigger once here. And they'll kill my Bowmaster. It's okay though. Okay, I just don't have anything going on. Favorite class in Baldur's Gate? Well, I've been playing Monk, but don't really have much frame of reference, you know what I mean? Watched Star Wars Rebels last season. Yeah, I just have to watch a whole season of a different show to watch this show. Welcome to TV in 2023. Dwarf Monk? Yeah. Think dwarves can't be monks. Take 2, consider down to 3, then drown the token probably, or maybe. I remember I haven't watched season. I also haven't seen like the new season of Mandalorian. I like the first 2. I haven't seen the new one. And Ashoka was in that show. And like I saw the original animated Clone Wars movie when it came out in theaters. I remember like having my brain blown that there was like a new Star Wars movie in theaters. I thought that was so cool. And I remember like thinking the movie was awful. It could be better than I remember. I remember thinking the movie was awful. I also like, I'll say this, I think the animation style of like the Clone Wars stuff is also awful. I think it looks really bad. It just, everybody looks so blocky and weird and... Three and Dying, wasn't it? Yeah, yep. The TV shows, yeah. People say they like the show. I'm sure I would like the show too, but I think to me the animation just looks so bad that I haven't really wanted to get into it. Like the art style is just like one of the ugliest art styles I've ever seen. You might be a hater. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I don't know. This is just my review. You got a lot better later season with the art style. Maybe. I don't know. It's okay. Maybe I'm a hater, but... So we're down to 2. They still have an Undying effect in their... 2 Undying effects in their hand. Okay, so if I can find a removal spell, like a Lightning Bolt... Lightning Bolt gets me out of this situation. Can go to 1 here, then I can Spell Pierce. Okay, now we're dead. Weird game. The Dying Effect's so good. I think 1 Hearse is probably okay. Like 3 more cuts? We need the Terminates to kill Scammed Furies, I think. Could cut 4 Thoughtseize. We go down to 2. Seems kind of like the weak link. Maybe we don't need to put the hearse. Try this. Have you seen Akira from 1998? Easily the worst images out of time, with only colors being palette of puke. I'm really embarrassed to admit this, and I've been really wanting to rewatch Akira, but like I was like 18, and I had like a really long day. It was like that summer was awesome. I would wake up, I would go to the Y every morning. I would play basketball for like 3 or 4 hours, and then I would go like watch anime with friends. But like that day in particular, I was so tired. I fell asleep during Akira. I was really liking the movie, and then like maybe like 40 minutes into it, like all of us just fell asleep. And I haven't rewatched it since, but I've been actually really wanting to recently. We'll say Heat is bad on this list. Yeah, I don't think you can play Heat over Bolter Push here, but I have been wanting to rewatch it. Hearse or 4th Consider, I could see that being fine. Yeah, I also don't remember the art style of Akira being bad, but it's been a long time. Any general Ferris decks in mind? Ferris is okay. There are like less, like Ren 6 is. So I remember Ferris was awesome, like at the beginning of MH2 when like just no one was playing Ren 6 for a while. It was really weird. Ren 6 was just nowhere to be seen. It was a utopia. Since then, it has been, I don't know, it just hasn't like been a good time for it. But there's like not as many Ridden 6s now, and it is kind of an interesting card with Halfling, because a lot of the cards you want to pair with Rockrick, like Teferi, your own Ridden 6, Omnath, also get cast off Halfling. What the fuck? Just random on a, is it Wednesday? Just random 100 pack. Is this like a misclick? Random 100 pack from I Am Gregorio. Got a gifted sub, make sure to thank him. I think I'm not going to go for the double block, mostly because I want to be able to play a big shadow next turn. That is the most gifted subs I've ever had at once, just at a random... random Wednesday. And then does Gregorio even say anything? Oh, happy Wednesday. Yes, happy Wednesday to you too, Gregorio. Spend your money better next time. What the fuck? buy your mom also a $500 gift. Thank you for the 100 subs. Please spend your money wiser. You want a deck tech? You want a deck tech? Okay, play Arcanist here, I think. What's his face? Thank you for the 28 months. Thank you for spending your money wisely. How was birthday skip with Arcanist going? We've only played it in like the prowess deck. I think we need to rework it a little bit, but it's still a cool idea. We got a lot going on at the moment. Yeah, I know we've said no paid deck techs, but for 100 gifted subs, we can make an exception. Get Chalice a lot. Yeah, I guess maybe we should have Flame of Anor. The problem is, I guess we should be bringing in for the scam. They just are going to have Chalice, huh? Ugh, man. Maybe we're racing. We're really not winning by, like, the block grief plan, I think. Guess I'll go Bowmaster, ping them, down to 11, attack them for 3, down to, no. 100 up for a league step? Nope. I guess I'm double blocking with my Bowmasters and hoping my 2/2 gets all the way, huh? Any plans to trophy race anytime soon? I want to do a trophy sprint this year. I'm not sure if I want to do 1 or 2 weeks, but 1 or 2 weeks of seeing as many trophies as we can get, plus donating to a charity every time we do get a trophy, plus like a flat donation too. Get double block and keep Bowmaster. I would rather think of a 2/2 Orc army than a 1/1 Bowmaster. That being said, we could draw Murktide and maybe get out of this. Yeah, for that I need to have a lot of what am I looking for? I need to do a lot of like off-stream work for. Oh, whoops! Can I undo? Yeah. For the like trophy sprint stuff, I need to get like maybe sponsors. I maybe want to talk to other streamers if they want to get in on it too. Make it like an event. Pick a charity, save up some money, make sure it's a good time. Because we have a new set coming out. It has to be like pretty deep into a set release, I think. So I'm not sure when, but I want to do it at some point this year. What are my thoughts on the deck? I was liking it a lot more off stream. Today on stream we've been losing a lot, but it was performing pretty well. Off stream at least. Okay, Murktide I think still wins here. So we can chump with Arcanist and still try to draw into Murktide or Iteration into Murktide. Okay, Chalice on 1 is good against. We can gain Chalice a lot. Okay, let's pivot to the backup deck. Sad. This is really like the deck off stream. I don't think it's as bad as our record indicates today. But I do want to play some more of the Hellraiser Creativity deck. I think that we played 1 league, 4-1, and then I went 0-1 drop the next league because it was getting kind of hot in here.